Hi everyone. So I'm going to show, people were asking about the top of the guitar. I'm going to show a little top planing, various stages. But first, this is the hinoki that I got, and it's quite nice wood. It's very old, and for my bowed string instrument friends, you can probably guess where this is going. And so I'm just very excited to try this stuff for a cello. So let's get it out of the way. So this is a piece of soft vinyl or something, I don't know what it is exactly, but I keep swatches of this around. It's really soft and it's got some padding so that I can lay the tops down when I'm planing them. So here's a top that has the rosette already, the rosette was inlaid, the outline is cut out. It's been thinned to the final thickness before assembly, and it's been braced. So I'm going to show the whole process of doing this over a couple of videos. And the next thing that I'm going to show is how I thin the top. So setting this aside, I'm going to work with these two for the time being. And these are the patterns I was mentioning. They're from various times. I have more of them, but here's a few of them. This is the pattern for this top right here. It happens to be a pattern that I took from a 1920 Santos Hernandez flamenco guitar. So this is just some plexiglass, and it's traced off the face of the instrument. So here's one. This is a Barbero from a plan. I took this from a plan. I took this from a real guitar that I know. I took this from a plan. This is a 1986 Francisco Barba. I took this from a guitar that I know. Here is another guitar. It's a copy of a Barbero that I know that I took that was nice. This is one from a 1927 Santos that a teacher gave me. This is one that I invented. I drew it and we nicknamed it La Fea, the ugly one. And this is another one that I drew, which is quite, it's on wood, and it's from 2006. It makes a really beautiful small guitar with a kind of a flat bottom. It's like it's a little shorter. It's about 18 and a half inches long, the model. So it fits with a shorter scale length. It looks really nice. So I've built this guitar a few times. It makes a really nice guitar. So these are the plantillas, just some patterns. The way they work is you grab one, and in order to develop the outline, you just put it on the center line and trace around it. You can't just put it anywhere. There's a few other things you have to take into account, like where the sound hole is, etc. But basically, it's a tracing pattern to establish the outline of the top, the plantilla of the top. So these are the plantilla patterns. And every guitar maker, violin maker, we all have, stacks of them. I have a bunch of them that are made out of paper. Some I'll never use, some I've used, never will use again. So anyway, this is a top that is a spruce top. that I started thinning. It's down to about an even 3 millimeters all over. So it's got to come down about another, probably like 6/10 of a millimeter or a millimeter. I haven't decided yet, but I've got it down to the point where I can start making the final thicknesses and on how I think that for the bracing pattern that I want to use. So we'll come back to that one in a second. This is a top that's been joined, and the plantilla outline's been drawn onto it. And I've used the router to make the channel that I'm going to inlay the rosette in. And if you look on my YouTube channel, there's a series of 3 videos that explains a method of putting in a rosette that is a typical old-timey Spanish method. It's called rosette construction. You can have a look at them. Some people have found it very helpful. I learned it from Eugene Clark, and there's many people who use this method to make a rosette. It's not the only method, but for making Spanish guitars, it's one of the ways you can do it. You can also make the rosette on a log as a whole piece and just drop the whole thing in one piece too, but I make it in individual pieces inside the rosette channel. So this top's joined, and basically what I'm going to do is just dress the back a little bit. The top's already been planed and dressed and scraped, so I'm just going to do a little bit to the back before I inlay the rosette. So I'm just going to give an example of how I use the plane to dress the back a little bit. So I take this soft material and just anchor the guitar to it, the top to it with a couple of clamps on the edge of the bench. And I've been using this pole plane, the Japanese plane. The blade has a little bit of belly to it. In other words, the blade's a little bit bellied this way, so it kind of takes a scoop rather than a flat cut. And this thing's really sharp, and in order to thickness the back quickly, I think for me this has been the best tool. It goes really fast. So once you get into it, you can systematically reduce the thickness of the back pretty quick and pretty accurately without a drum sander. So I'm just dressing the back of this just so that it's got a plain surface on the back and not this ridge from the process of joining it. Just clean this one up right here. So the top is just hogging out the wood on the top to get it to a thickness that I can brace it, but I don't want to go too thin while I'm working on the rosette. So here I'm at about 3.5 to 4 millimeters. So I'm just going to leave it like this while I do the rosette, so that the back is nice and strong while I'm wrangling around with it to do the rosette. And there's a tiny bit of pull out. I was going a little bit fast. But as you can see, once you get going with a bellied plane like that, you can just knock a lot of wood off in a hurry. So I'll put this one over here. Carefully put these face to face so they don't scratch. Now, this top, I'm not going to thickness it in front of you, but I'm just going to show basically that I'm doing the same thing. It's just getting a little bit closer to the nitty gritty. Like this is 3 millimeters, 2.9. So ultimately I'm looking for something around 2.3, like depending on the top, like anywhere between maybe like 1.8 and 2.3 millimeters for a flamenco guitar. But I'll make the top pretty much the same thickness all around, depending upon how it flexes as I'm going. So I'll do, this side's still a little bit thicker. So what does it want to do here? And I don't mind if the plane's got a little bit of belly, because I'm still trying to get to my thicknesses and I don't want to like take a million years. But the belly plane, it doesn't take out as wide of a swath. But I'm going slow and just getting down on top of the wood and taking off little sections at a time and flexing the top as I go. So I can feel all the different little parts of it and how it feels, how the flex feels and how the strength feels, and in relation to the weight. And then when I want to smooth it out and do a final smoothing on the inside, I'll probably take one of these Western planes that are set up for doing really, really fine smoothing, and then I'll just go over the tops of the bumps that this belly plane takes, and I'll flatten it all out, and then I'll take a scraper and just scrape in different places, and then super fine tune it with a scraper, and then it'll be ready for bracing. So that is what I wanted to show you. So thanks for looking. See you later. I'll do a little bit more in a couple days.